Okay, I think we are rolling. Hey everybody, it's Coach Ivan with Gym Coaching. I wanted to make this video to talk about the food list that is most likely assigned to your Trainerize program. So if you're watching this video, you're likely one of my gym coaching programmed clients. And I wanted to create this video for you guys. So in case you're interested in learning and wanting to understand the nutrition side of developing a healthier lifestyle. Now, this isn't necessarily required part of the planning or programming. If you wanted to just do the fitness, that's fine. Just let me know. But as most of y'all have heard, nutrition can be a critical component to your fat loss and your maintenance of your weight. So it's really good to understand this stuff just to have an extra tool in your toolbox, okay? So since nutrition is considered a critical component of weight and overall health management, I created this video to discuss the assigned food list and how you're actually going to be using this, okay? So watching this video, I'm hoping that you'll leave with a couple of things here. I hope that you'll leave with an understanding of how this food list is a guide to healthier eating. I hope you leave with a foundation to develop a meal planning strategy that leads into how you can track your consumption, and we'll get into that in a future video. And I hope that this, at a minimum, gives you a reference for healthy foods that you can try to incorporate in your diet. Okay, so a couple of things that we won't be covering in this video is we won't yet be covering calorie tracking specifically and how to plan for calories in this particular video, but that will be a following video that will be shared with you all as well. But keep an eye out for that discussion in the future, okay? So where do we find the food list? So if you open up your Trainerize account, right now I have mine open on the desktop. You can see that I'm in my account for Ivan Morales, and I'm in my meal plans section. And you should be able to find something similar in your client account. And you should see that there's going to be a challenge food list assigned to you. Now, typically, these food lists are assigned based off of a weight range. So, for example, I'm between 151 pounds and 200 pounds. So I use the 1.75 edition of this plan. So depending on what you logged your weight as, you'll have the appropriate food list assigned to you. Now, if there isn't one assigned to you or it doesn't correspond to your particular weight range, please contact me and let me know so I can make the adjustments and add that to you, okay? Now, just a couple of disclaimers before we get started and get to it. So this is one of many food list strategies that are available out there on the web, okay? This food list may or may not fall under other fad strategy guides. So for example, if you are always interested in trying paleo or keto or any other kind of fad diets that are out there, fad, F-A-D, this might not fall in line with those particular fads. This is a food list that allows all types of foods, mainly non-processed foods, but it does include meat, it does include dairy. So if those are things that you can't tolerate in your diet, just let me know and I can try to find a supplemental food list for you, okay? Another thing to consider is that the food list that I provided is not mine, but it has been used in other nutritional programs, and this actually has been used very well in the gym that I work at, and it is very helpful to just kind of help expose people to other types of eating, healthier eating, and really helps with the fat loss as well. Another disclaimer is I am not a certified dietitian. I'm only a certified personal trainer through NASM. I will be working to get my certified nutritional coach license through them as well, but I am not a certified dietitian. So that said, any in-depth nutritional discussions that might be required for any deficiencies that you have, like mineral or vitamins, allergies, etc., should be discussed with a registered dietitian. So if there's any kind of concerns on how you're eating or what is being recommended to you, please talk to a dietitian. Those are the people that will advise you best, okay? And then lastly, on the disclaimers, the term diet refers to how you eat. When we say that what is your diet like, we don't necessarily mean how are you not eating. It just basically means how you're eating. So I could be on a diet of burgers and fries, or I can be on a diet of chicken, broccoli, and sweet potato, okay? So anytime I refer to diet, it's kind of specific to how you're actually eating. Okay. Now, also, you are following this plan at your own risk. So that's with your understanding that you are doing this with your best efforts and your best understanding on how to eat these foods. If you ever have any questions or concerns, please, again, refer to a dietitian if you need to. Now, let's get to it. Let's get to the good stuff. So I love this food list because this was an eye-opener to me because it shows me all of the healthy foods that I can incorporate in my diets. It doesn't necessarily have to be that I eat these foods plain the way that they are. I can use these food lists to develop recipes or look up recipes to incorporate and make my own meals that are able to adhere to the way that I want to eat, that is going to support my goals in weight loss, muscle gain, etc. So this is a suggested nutritional guideline to understand a few things, okay? First of all, it's to understand healthier, low glycemic index, non-processed food options to incorporate in your nutritional plan and tracking when we get to that discussion. It also helps provide suggested supplementation. So if you don't understand a lot about supplementation, I'll cover it briefly today, but I'll also have another video that discusses more about supplementation so you can kind of play with that as well as you get more involved. It helps you understand mindfulness of low calorie additives. So usually that is going to be the kryptonite for a lot of us. When we're talking about additives, we're talking about butters, oils, marinades, all of that stuff, all of the extra stuff that we don't really consider, like barbecue sauce, ketchups, all of that you'd be surprised how many calories you actually add in to your nutrition just by those additives. So I'll actually be covering some that are 0 calorie that you can consider incorporating into your diet so that you feel better about consuming it, okay? And then lastly, the great thing about this food list is that there has been evidence that sticking to this more wholesome food list allows you to eat more, while at the same time naturally putting you in to a calorie deficit. So calorie deficit basically means eating less than the calories you need to maintain your weight, which means that you're going to be burning fat if you're eating less than what you need to maintain your weight. Okay. This food list does include meat. So there isn't I do have a vegetarian option and food list available for you if you're interested in that. It does include, I think, the Morningstar brand types of fake types of meats that are like tofu and soy and all of that. So if vegetarian is your way to go, just let me know and I can add that food list to your plan as well. So let's go into the good stuff. Let's start going into the overview. So you should be able to see my screen. And what we start with right away is going to be your macro distribution, including your veggies. Okay, it's a printable form, so if you wanted to kind of keep this as a day-by-day kind of form to set up a workbook, it's basically designed that way. You can put your name in there, you can circle and highlight whatever proteins and fats and stuff you want to eat. So it's a good little workbook kind of way to do it, or you can just kind of plan it on your own sheet of paper, digitally, however you want to plan your stuff. So the first thing that you're going to see is the food options for each of the macros, which your macros are your proteins, your fats, and your carbs. The good thing I like about this food list is it does separate veggies. Okay, now veggies can typically be considered kind of a carb. It's very low carb, but this is to stress more green leafy food options that you need to incorporate in your diet. And the reason why we want to incorporate that is we're talking about missing micronutrients that we don't get from a lot of the carbs that we eat. Okay, so consider the veggies almost like a separate option, a separate part of the macros, and that's a part that we definitely want to hit and we're going to include into our consumption. Okay, it also provides here at the top, you can see it provides some serving sizes. So the cool thing is with this is it does it in 2 ways. You're going to see measurement options with eye or hand measurements, or you're going to see it in actual mass measurements. Okay, so for example, here in protein, it talks about eating a protein serving that's the size of your palm. Okay, and that's including the thickness of your palm. So if we're looking at that, we're looking at the thickness of my palm, and then basically the rounded portion of my hand is basically a serving size for me that I should be eating of that particular protein item. Okay, so if it's talking about, and a rough estimate is maybe a 6-ounce chicken breast, then, basically off of the size of your palm, that's a good way that you can kind of track what you're eating. Okay, so the fats covers it in terms of the size of your thumb. So we're talking about the size of your thumb might be about 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. And again, there's going to be variance in there because everybody's hand sizes are different, but that's one way that you can kind of measure your food. Okay. Then the carbs is about the size of your fist. So again, we're talking about maybe the thickness and the size of your fist is what you can eat. So we're talking about maybe like a sweet potato, a potato, some rice would be basically a pile the size of your fist. And then for veggies, also your fist, we also want to make sure that you get a good amount of veggies in there. If you can eat more than a fistful of veggies with light on the additives, especially butter, that's ideal. Eat as many greens as you can. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So just a little bit more on the eye hand measurement. So this is great for when you don't have a scale close by. Okay. If you've never messed with a food scale, I can make a video about that as well. But it's going to be less detailed, but it's a great kind of back pocket tool for if you're traveling, eating at a friend's house, and you want to get an estimate of what you're eating. Go by the hand size measurements, because at least that also gives you an idea of how to serve yourself when you're eating somewhere. And then later you can go back in and put in your tracking information when you get to that point. Okay. Then you actually have the mass measurements, which are grams and ounces. This does require a scale. So if you haven't purchased a food scale, at some point you can consider getting a food scale. But this is going to be the most granular way and the most accurate way to measure the calorie intake that you have in your body by measuring the mass of the food. Okay. So like I said, it's the most accurate way to track calories. And this is ideal for when you're getting very, very particular into things like body fat percentage, maintenance, and gaining weight as far as gaining muscle. Okay. Notice that I did not include weight loss in there, because at some point we want to go ahead and get the whole idea of a weight loss number out of the picture, and we want to focus on the real stuff that matters, like your body fat percentage, how your body is measuring, because if your body is measuring less in other areas of your body, that means that you're losing fat and you're getting to where you want to go, or vice versa. If you want to gain muscle, you want to measure your body because you want to see where you're making your gains. Okay, so that's where the actual mass measurements come in. So now we go down into the meal breakdown. So you have your breakfast. You'll see that there's an option for a snack there. You have your lunch, you have your snack, and you have your dinner. So what's very important, guys, is that this is stressing your 3 to 5 meals a day. Okay? It's very, very important. I know a lot of clients that I work with that they say, oh, I just don't eat enough in the morning, or I don't want to eat breakfast. I'm just not hungry. That's fine. Even if you have to shift your terminology and you're calling your lunch your breakfast, as long as you're still fitting in all of these meals in the day, you should be good to go. Not doing so might take you into too much of a calorie deficit, and that's going to take you into muscle loss, other exposure to diseases, and we can talk about that in another video. Okay, so what this talks about here is when you're eating breakfast, you can see the good thing is it's color coded by servings. So for breakfast, ideally you want to be eating 1 serving of protein, 1 serving of carbs, and 1 serving of veggies. Okay? So you can pick anything from the list, measure it out based off of your hand or off of a scale, and that's going to be your breakfast. Veggies might be the hardest part to get used to. Some recommendations are asparagus, roasted Brussels sprouts, or if you have a superfood veggie type of powder supplement that you can put in some water and blend up, that also counts as long as it's a vegetable serving. Okay? Then you go into your snack. Now, your snack is typically going to be some kind of protein supplementation. I do recommend getting a protein powder, whether it's whey, soy, or vegan. And the main rule of thumb on the protein supplements is that it's less than 1 gram of sugar per serving. And you want to just go ahead and mix it up maybe with some water or some almond milk, something that's going to be low fat, low calorie, so that you can just go ahead and take that down as a snack period in the day when you're feeling hungry, so that way you can go ahead and keep up with your protein targets as well. Okay, so the snack options is 2 ways. You can either have 2 half snacks in the day, or you can have 1 full snack in the day, meaning like a full scoop of protein as a protein shake through the day, or you can split it up into 2 half portion protein snacks throughout the day. Okay, one recommendation, some people like to, if you have your midday coffee, putting half a scoop of a good flavored protein in your coffee and blending that up is delicious. It's almost like a creamer, plus you're getting your protein in, and protein helps fill you up. So let's move on to lunch. Lunch is basically the same breakdown as breakfast. You have 1 serving of carbs, 1 serving of protein, and 1 serving of vegetables. Highly stressing those vegetables. Then we move to another option for a snack, unless you've had your full snack or your full protein portion for a snack for the day. But you can also squeeze in your fourth meal, which would be a snack. Often this is great for a post-workout type of meal before you get home and you actually get to have your dinner. Or if you work out in the afternoon or like at noon, that you can sneak in that snack along with your lunch so that you have a nice big lunch to hold you off until you get to have your dinner. And then moving on to dinner, you can see that we moved the carbs out of the picture, and I will talk about that in another video. It's more about the digestive process of carbs versus fats when you're going to sleep, okay? So it does recommend 1 serving of fats for dinner, 1 serving of protein, and of course your 1 serving of vegetable for the day, okay? So that's the breakdown there for the actual meals. Now the next section here on the food list talks about the supplementation. I'm not going to get too into the supplementations on this video. I will make another video that's specific to that, but just as a good starting point, you definitely want to consider getting a multivitamin in every morning if you don't already. That just kind of helps with your micronutrients and vitamins that you need. And then also you may want to consider, if you're working out with me one-on-one or you're doing a lot of hefty or frequency in working out during the week, is a BCAA, which is branch chain amino acid recovery type of drinks. Now you can either see that mixed into a pre-workout or you can see it on its own as a recovery drink. I recommend starting on its own as a recovery drink, especially after our intense workouts, because that is going to help with your muscle recovery and also get you back into the mode and feeling less sore so that you can get back to your next workout quicker. Okay? Let me see, as far as supplementation, so in here you'll see that there's some stuff talking about AM stack and your PM stack. So this was designed based off a specific supplementation company called Prestige Labs. And if you're ever interested in that, I can talk to you about Prestige Labs supplements, or you can go out and buy these supplements on your own. But some of the AM supplements talk about the old Multi-Intense was basically a multivitamin. Burn AM is basically kind of like a fat burning, kind of just to kind of kickstart your metabolism in the morning. And then Test Storm is more of a testosterone type of supporting supplement. In the PM stack, basically it's recommended that if you have issues getting to sleep, to have a sleep multiplier. The sleep multiplier is more about getting quality of sleep versus the quantity. Only you are in control of the quantity of sleep that you get as far as going to bed early. Sleep multiplier is more about deeper, more quality type of sleep so that you're actually getting more regeneration and recovery during your sleep. Burn PM is an appetite suppressant. So if you find any kind of natural appetite suppressants, you can try that as well. This is great for people that are find themselves really getting like late night munchies, or you're always craving something sweet before you go to bed and you want to hit the ice cream or you want to hit the cookies or you want to hit the cereal. Take that appetite suppressant with your dinner and you'll find that that craving is a lot less there, so you're able to just go to bed and then just wake up to a nice hearty breakfast. And then EFA, you don't have to worry about that one. That is more of a kind of a, what do they call that? Like a hormonal kind of balance supplement. Okay, so now we get into the actual tips on workout supplements, which I think is really cool. So if you decide to get into workout supplements, and I'll touch on these a little bit later in a video, it'll recommend that you typically want to take workout supplements only on workout days. So meaning if you're sluggish in the morning or something and you don't think that you're going to work out, you don't want to take like a pre-workout. That's just going to defeat the purpose, and it's also going to kind of help develop a tolerance to it. So if you keep taking pre-workout, you're going to start to see that it's not as effective as the first time you took it. So that's why it's good to only really use it when it's necessary. Okay, so as a pro tip, keep supplements in a car or somewhere that's ease of access so that you're able to take your supplements. This is great for vitamins. Leave your jars of vitamins by the coffee pot or by your teapot or wherever is the first place that you go to in the morning, so that you know that as soon as you get that first cup of water in the morning, go ahead and take your supplements, have your breakfast, start your day. Pre-workout, as again, it'll mention some of these that are related to Prestige, but you don't have to use Prestige Lab supplements. You can use your own supplements, but you typically want to take a pre-workout with some water before your workout. Intra-workout is, again, like BCAAs or something that's a supplement that you can do within your workout. So these are usually great like for electrolytes, replenishment if you're having a really hard or long workout. Again, you can take intra as well. Your post-workout is going to be basically all your recovery stuff. This is very important, especially when it comes to protein. You definitely want to take your proteins after your intense workouts within an hour after your workout. So post-workout is very, very good. It also really helps with that muscle soreness. There's nothing like being way too sore to work out for the next 2 days, and then it just basically stops you from being able to give your all in that workout. All right? All right, guys. So enough about supplements. So let's go to the grocery helper. So this is really helpful with the food list too, because this kind of gives you an idea of how to buy some of these items in bulk. So if you start to see some things that are on the list that you're like, oh man, I already know I like to eat that. I like to eat these kind of fats. I like to eat these carbs. I like to eat these veggies. You can already start to see how you can plan maybe some meals together, okay? And based off of that, you can use this as a grocery shopping tool to just go to the grocery store, buy the things that you need, and plan out your meals for at least starting with the first 3 days. And we'll talk about meal planning in another video, but this just kind of gives you an idea of how to grocery shop for these items and what kind of bulk you're looking for to buy, okay? And again, that's going to vary depending on your family, because if you have kids and you're feeding other people in your family, you might have to adjust how much you buy in there as well, all right? So then there's a little worksheet area there where it's called inserting your meal plan choices below, and this is where you can actually print this out, fill out your meals for the day, your proteins, your fats, your carbs, your veggies, all of that. And remember that for some of them, the fats are not really applicable, and for some of them, carbs are not applicable. So consider that based off of how you design your meal plan. And then also you can touch on your snacks in there as well, okay? One thing I didn't mention about snacks, it doesn't necessarily have to be a protein shake, but I do recommend a protein-heavy type of snack. So maybe a cottage cheese or Greek yogurt, or if you want to even eat some tuna just to kind of boost up your protein, because protein is typically one of the hardest macros to meet when people are starting out on a nutrition plan. All right. Great, guys. So the last thing I am going to cover here is the condiments, spices, and beverages. So as I mentioned before, this is where you can really, really throw your path off the rails. Again, when we're talking about sauces, barbecue sauces, ketchups, just glazes, all of that stuff can have a lot of sugar, can have a lot of oils, which means a lot of fats, which means a lot of calories. And usually that's where you can sometimes think that you're eating healthy. But if you have a lot of these additives, sometimes that's where you'll see that you can actually go above your calorie, your maintenance calorie level. And that's when you're going to start to see that your weight either gains or you're not going to be losing the fat that you want to lose. Okay. So looking at calorie condiments, 0-calorie condiments. We're looking at mustards, soy sauces, lemon juice is a great one, balsamic vinegars. You're already seeing that you can make some really good dressings with mustard, lemon juice, balsamic vinegar, even your hot sauces. So any of those hot sauces that are 0-calorie, those are all good for this nutrition plan. 0-calorie spices. You have your dry spices, so any kind of rubs that you put on. Your seasoning, your dry rubs, your salt, pepper. Your Mrs. Dash is a great option too. Mrs. Dash is all 0-calorie, and they have tons of options that you can use to season your meats. So Mrs. Dash is a good way to go too. And then your 0-calorie beverages, you have your water, your green teas. I can't stress water enough. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day. Your black coffee, so if you're a coffee drinker, you can have your black coffee. And then also your zero sugar iced teas. This is a great one in our house. Be careful though, because some of them do still have calories. But 0 sugar iced teas are great. That way you can kind of get that nice refreshing tea in, and it doesn't feel like you're just drinking water all day. Okay? All right, guys, that's basically covering the food list. So if you have any questions at all, please reach out to me at any time. Again, this should be attached to your training program on Trainerize. If you need a vegetarian option of this food list, just go ahead and message me. I'd be happy to add that for you. Also, with the grocery helper, if some of y'all do not see any of your cultural food items there, I would love to sit down and discuss that with you. Sometimes there's cultural foods and vegetables that you guys eat that might not be on these food lists, but I'd love to sit down and take a look and research those nutritional facts with you so that way you can eat the stuff that you love to eat with your family. All right? Thanks, guys. Be well, eat well, and as always, to your health, growth, and wealth. This is Ivan with Gym Coaching, and stay tuned for some more videos. I have some more videos coming up on your calorie targets and how to track your calories, and that way we can just keep you heading towards your goals and get you to where you want to be. All right, have a great day, guys. Take care.